Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to show you a new juice pouch craft. This is a juice pouch lunch bag. It's great for school. It would be great for packing lunches to go to the park or the beach. You can probably tell this is made from recycled Capri-Sun pouches. You can use Kool-Aid jammers or any other type. There's the inside of it. It's easy to clean out if a mess occurs. It's waterproof. I use Velcro for the closure. You can use stick-on Velcro, but I like to be able to sew mine on. I think sewing is the most durable approach to any type of juice pouch craft. I have a sewing machine, that's the quickest way. You can hand sew, it will take a mucho long time. Otherwise, the only other acceptable way to put this together would be a lot of clear tape. I have seen comments that make me cringe about people hot gluing these together. Do not hot glue these together, please. Did you just see me get really frustrated? Because you cannot hot glue this together. Hot glue is going to stick on here for, you know, maybe a little bit, but it's going to come undone. It's going to peel all apart, and then your lunchbox is going to be a bunch of juice pouches scattered around on the ground, and your chili spilled everywhere. Mess. Please don't staple them either. Sewing is the best approach. Now that I'm happy again, definitely check out my other juice pouch craft videos. I'm going to be moving a lot from my Sarah Linty channel, which is my old channel, to this channel, so I'm going to be redoing some videos. And I'm also going to be having new crafts, so stay tuned for more recycled juice pouch stuff. Yay! I also have a video on tips on how to clean out juice pouches. It's best if you drink them from the bottom because then you don't see a poke in the straw hole. To start, you'll need a sewing machine. I have a Singer Featherweight too, or if you opt to use hand sewing, you'll just need a needle and thread. To get just this basic design, you'll need 14 juice pouches, but if you want to add a flap or strap set of juice pouches, you'll of course need a few more. It'd be a good idea to have a bunch of different colored thread and bobbins so you can make your lunch boxes really fun and funky. Also, you may want a pair of scissors and some clear tape to do a little bit of lining. If you want some type of fabric straps, you'll need a belt or fabric or some type of ribbon. Otherwise, you can make it a true authentic juice pouch craft and make the handles out of nothing but recycledness. To start, you're going to make panels. You'll need 4 juice pouches for the front panel and 4 for the back panel. Then you'll need 2 for one side, 2 for the other side, and 2 for the bottom. As you can see, I have joined these together with a zigzag stitch. I just think that it's more durable, but you can use a straight stitch if you want, and if you sew by hand, obviously just sew however. First, take 2 juice pouches, overlap them a little bit, then sew straight down to join them. If you have trouble with them slipping apart while you sew, you can add a little bit of tape to the back, which will help. So let's get this going. Once you get a little bit down, be sure to back tack or back stitch. This works as a knot for the thread so it doesn't come undone when you're using your lunchbox in the future. So, went backwards, then continue forward, and do this when you start every stitch and when you end every stitch on every single juice pouch that you sew together. Trim all the excess thread very close to the pouch. This will save you time in the end. Repeat this step 3 more times. Line up your next pouches on top of them and make sure that they're the same length when you sew. Once you have joined 8 juice pouches together 2 by 2, then you're going to attach them like this and sew across to make them taller. Again, always remember to back stitch at the end. When you go to sew these together, make sure they're the exact same height as the panel you just sewed. You want the front and back to be the same height. Now that you have both a front and a back panel, it's time to make the 2 side panels. To do that, take 2 juice pouches and line them up to be the exact same height as the front and back panels. You're going to sew along here. So here you have both side panels next to one of the front and back panels. Next, take 2 juice pouches for the bottom. You're going to overlap them like this. Make sure they're the same exact width of the front and back panels. As you can see, I stitched this in 2 places, once here and once here, because on the back there's a flap right here to hold down. Again, it's the same width as the front and back panels. Next, it's time to join your side panels to the bottom panel. Take your bottom panel, put the pattern facing down, and then take a side panel and put the pattern facing up. And sew right along the edge here. Once you get this panel sewed on, take your other panel and sew it to the other side. Make sure they're facing the right way. Now my side panels are sewed to the bottom panel. At this point, you absolutely have to decide what kind of straps you want and what kind of closure you want, because it will be easiest to sew on Velcro and straps at this point. If you want to do 2 straps, just go ahead and sew them on to the front panel and the back panel. It's really self-explanatory. You just put them wherever you want and make them however long you want, so I'm not going to show you how to sew those on. Just kind of do it. The same goes with the Velcro. When you sew Velcro on the back panel, make sure it's in the exact same place on the front panel, so then it will join well. You can just use that piece of Velcro. I like to have more that fold down like this. On the lunchbox I'm currently making, I want to have a different type of closure. It's a flap that folds down like that. So you'll need an additional juice pouch to make this flap, and then 1 rectangle of Velcro. Cut some Velcro, rip it apart. On one panel you're going to take Velcro and sew it right in the middle, or you can adjust the height a little bit depending on how far you want your flap to fold over. I attached my Velcro with a straight stitch to the middle of the front panel. Also at this point, before I join the panels together, I like to put clear tape across the middle seam just to give it a little more stability in case anything were to get caught on here. It won't pull it apart with the clear tape. You can barely see where the tape is even joined on there. It's a very subtle line and it stays on really nicely. Now for the little flap part, you're going to cut around the juice pouch. I like to cut along this blue line, and that will make a rounded edge for the end of the flap. You'll have to put a stitch along this line, a straight stitch, to seal it together because now it's open. Oops, no, that doesn't matter, you can take those out. Once you've sewed along the edge there, it's time to fold it. So I flip it over. So I kind of fold it like that, so the bottom is thinner than the top. Make sure it's wide enough for your Velcro, which mine is. I put a straight stitch down either side of this. See, there's the back of it. You're going to sew the Velcro onto the back just like that. Once the Velcro is sewed on, you need to attach this to the back panel, and you can sew it on anywhere you want. I usually put it about here, so about 1/3 of the way down, and just put as many stitches as you want to sew it on. Here's the stitches that I put on my grape one. There's 3 lines going across. There's another 2 lines here to hold that flap down. Here are the stitches I used to make my little flap. I did put a piece of clear tape over them, and then here's the other side of it. We have our sides and bottom, and we're going to connect it to either the front or the back. I'm taking my front panel and lining it up with the side panel here, and I'm going to sew it all the way down. As you can see, I just sewed the front panel to the side panel. Make sure they're all facing up, and leave a little gap at the bottom. This will make the final steps easier if you just leave that little gap. Your front panel is joined on like this. You want to sew the back panel on over here. At this point, your purse should look like this. There's the front panel over here and the back one over here. You're going to bring everything together to form a lunchbox shape. You're going to sew completely down this side, and then sew completely down this side. And by completely, I still mean to leave a little bit of a gap, so sewing the bottom together will be easier. Now both sides are joined together to the front and back, but the bottom is still unattached. You need to fold the bottom down in order to sew along one of the sides. Here's another look at sewing the bottom. This side's already sewn, so I folded it over, and then you just have this line to sew along and you're done. Now the bottom is completely attached. If you left too much space on those little gaps, you can go ahead and sew those up, but be sure not to sew the sides anything else, just sew it together here. I'm going to do the same for this side right here, just put a little extra stitch. I'm going to finish off my grape lunchbox with this juice pouch strap. In order to make a strap out of juice pouches instead of ribbon or belt or fabric, go ahead and cut the juice pouch in half. The strap I showed you was 3 juice pouches long. I like to join them together so all the open sides are facing the same way, so both of those sides are open. I zigzag stitch to join them together, so if you have more to attach, you would just zigzag stitch to join more pieces on like that. Then you fold one side over and straight stitch it along the entire length of the strap. And once that's done, fold the other side over and stitch it all the way as well. Now my really long strap is attached. Once this step is complete, you just follow all the same steps that I showed. Here are my 3 complete juice pouch lunch bags. Woohoo! As you can see, this one has a giant strap on it, so it makes it easy to carry across your shoulder. So there's the flap on this. I had the Velcro in the same place on this purple one, but I had to move it up because if it folds over, then the handles do a really weird thing. So if you add a long handle on the sides like this, then you're going to have to move your Velcro way up like mine. Here's straps. Also, I just wanted to tell you that I got this awesome necklace from this awesome beauty guru named Selena. Here's her Instagram and her Luxe Craving shop where she sells beautiful jewelry like the one I got. Check out her Instagram and shop, both Luxe Craving, and I'll put her YouTube link below in the down bar too. Also check out my Instagram, Sarah Lynn Fashion, Hope Glimmers, and Sarah Lynn T. They all are different themes. And all of my links are in the down bar, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. You guys have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you soon. Bye! Alright, so I don't know what I'm doing. Like my resin earrings. Big bag of ones that I've saved, and whoa, that's super heavy to toss. Ooh. I also have why I'm holding my hair, I don't know. Okay. And I'm also going to be making new duct tape. Then you're going, whoa, that's cool. Juice pouch. Oh man. Okay, read two. Good, clean fun. So, ooh, shoot, I just kicked you. Okay. Close up of this necklace. Beautiful. I love it. I have my leopard print shorts on. I think that's all, y'all. Have a nice day. I could get like a screen capture of this. Okay, goodbye.